Hello students, welcome to NEET Predictor. Today we have a new video series of MBBS deemed universities, open fee structure and category wise closing rank 2023. Let's start with Adupadai Vidu Medical College and Hospital, Puducherry, 19,50,000 fees per annum. Closing rank in round 1, 12,17,052. Closing rank in round 2, 9,03,053. Closing rank in round 3, 11,91,585. Closing rank in stray round, 9,55,913. ACS Medical College and Hospital, Chennai, 23 lakh fees per annum. Closing rank in round 1, 12,10,857. Closing rank in round 2, 8,63,470. Closing rank in round 3, 12,18,878. Closing rank in stray round, 5,99,400. Amrita Institute of Medical Sciences, Kochi, Kerala, 19 lakh fees per annum. Closing rank in round 1, 2,10,375. Closing rank in round 2, 1,82,858. Closing rank in round 3, 1,38,654. No seat in stray round. Amrita School of Medical College, Faridabad, Haryana, 19 lakh fees per annum. Closing rank in round 1, 2,07,776. Closing rank in round 2, no seat. Closing rank in round 3, 1,57,146. Closing rank in stray round, 98,070. BLDE University, Bijapur, Karnataka, 18 lakh fees per annum. Closing rank in round 1, 3,43,362. Closing rank in round 2, 2,73,679. Closing rank in round 3, 3,20,431. Closing rank in stray round, 1,19,757. Bharat Medical College and Hospital, Tamil Nadu, 23 lakh fees per annum. Closing rank in round 1, 12,18,381. Closing rank in round 2, 6,91,651. Closing rank in round 3, 10,94,589. Closing rank in stray round, 9,63,009. Bharatiya Vidyapeth DU, Pune, Maharashtra, fees 21,33,495. Closing rank in round 1, 3,25,219. Closing rank in round 2, 2,43,326. Closing rank in round 3, 1,30,707. Closing rank in stray round, 1,49,888. Bharatiya Vidyapeth deemed University, Sangli, Maharashtra, 22,02,790 fees per annum. Closing rank in round 1, 5,04,213. Closing rank in round 2, 4,39,751. Closing rank in round 3, 4,08,330. Closing rank in stray round, 2,27,432. Chettinad Medical College, Tamil Nadu, 24,50,000 fees per annum. Closing rank in round 1, 10,22,411. Closing rank in round 2, 9,21,383. Closing rank in round 3, 9,47,312. Closing rank in stray round, 6,36,055. Datta Meghe Medical College, Nagpur, Maharashtra, 20,75,000 fees per annum. Closing rank in round 1, 5,89,644. Closing rank in round 2, 6,01,531. Closing rank in round 3, 5,59,994. Closing rank in stray round, 3,92,017. Dr. D.Y. Patil Medical College and Hospital, Pune, Maharashtra, 25 lakh fees per annum. Closing rank in round 1, 5,47,267. Closing rank in round 2, 5,52,216. Closing rank in round 3, 5,76,754. Closing rank in stray round, 3,13,658. Dr. D.Y. Patil Medical College, Navi Mumbai, 26 lakh fees per annum. Closing rank in round 1, 5,64,598. Closing rank in round 2, 5,81,045. Closing rank in round 3, 4,96,985. Closing rank in straight round, 2,87,723. Dr. D.Y. Patil Deemed University, Kolhapur, Maharashtra, 20,60,000 fees per annum. Closing rank in round 1, 3,61,243. Closing rank in round 2, 4,14,428. No seat in round 3 and straight round. Geetam Institute of Medical Sciences, Vishakhapatnam, Andhra Pradesh, 25,37,000 fees structure per annum. Closing rank in round 1, 12,03,593. Closing rank in round 2, 6,26,853. Closing rank in round 3, 10,92,059. Closing rank in straight round, 9,49,010. Hamdard Institute of Medical Sciences, Delhi, 14 lakh fees per annum. Closing rank in round 1, 56,658. Closing rank in round 2, 39,445. No seat in round 3 and straight round. Institute of Medical Sciences and Some Hospital, Odisha, 19,60,000 fees per annum. Closing rank in round 1, 3,628. Closing rank in round 2, 1,77,660. Closing rank in round 3, 64,055. Closing rank in straight round, 88,010. KLE Jadaguru Gangadhar Medical College, Hubli, Karnataka, 14,40,000 fees per annum. Closing rank in round 1, 2,18,005. Closing rank in round 2, 1,71,665. Closing rank in round 3, 2,17,352. Closing rank in straight round, 1,22,602. Jawaharlal Nehru Medical College, Belgavi, Karnataka, 18,25,000 fees structure per annum. Closing rank in round 1, 1,79,229. Closing rank in round 2, 1,71,740. Closing rank in round 3, 76,483. Closing rank in straight round, 28,095. JLN Medical College, Varda, Maharashtra, 20,75,000 fee structure per annum. Closing rank in round 1, 5,77,151. Closing rank in round 2, 5,31,206. Closing rank in round 3, 5,93,557. Closing rank in straight round, 4,35,113. JSS Medical College, Mysuru, Karnataka, 18,50,000 fees per annum. Closing rank in round 1, 1,74,229. Closing rank in round 2, 1,50,036. Closing rank in round 3, 1,41,106. Closing rank in straight round, 26,480. KS Hegde Medical College, Mangaluru, Karnataka, 16,86,000 fees per annum. Closing rank in round 1, 2,24,277. Closing rank in round 2, 1,63,329. Closing rank in round 3, 1,52,887. Closing rank in straight round, 33,023. Kalinga Institute of Medical Sciences, Bhubaneswar, Odisha, 18,50,000 fee structure per annum. Closing rank in round 1, 2,73,827. Closing rank in round 2, 1,34,454. Closing rank in round 3, 1,962. Closing rank in straight round, 96,355. Kasturba Medical College, Manipal, Karnataka, 17,70,000 fee structure per annum. Closing rank in round 1, 51,200. Closing rank in round 2, 41,379. Closing rank in round 3, 26,397. Closing rank in straight round, 24,330. Kasturba Medical College, Mangaluru, Karnataka, 17,70,000 fee structure per annum. Closing rank in round 1, 72,304. Closing rank in round 2, 57,101. Closing rank in round 3, 30,856. No seat in straight round. Krishna Institute of Medical Sciences, Kharad, Maharashtra, 22,50,000 fee structure per annum. Closing rank in round 1, 4,67,886. Closing rank in round 2, 4,98,273. Closing rank in round 3, 5,16,961. Closing rank in straight round, 2,36,453. Mahatma Gandhi Medical College, Puducherry, 22 lakh fees per annum. Closing rank in round 1, 8,68,853. Closing rank in round 2, 9,15,116. Closing rank in round 3, 11,33,004. Closing rank in straight round, 8,05,350. Mahatma Gandhi Mission Medical College, Navi Mumbai, 20 lakh fees per annum. Closing rank in round 1, 3,06,764. Closing rank in round 3, 1,03,175. Closing rank in straight round, 90,791. No seat in round 2. Manipal Tata Medical College, Jharkhand, 16,09,000 fees per annum. Closing rank in round 1, 1,01,696. Closing rank in round 2, 82,545. Closing rank in round 3, 47,541. No seat in straight round. Meenakshi Medical College, Kanchipuram, Tamil Nadu, 22,50,000 fees per annum. No seat in round 1. Closing rank in round 2, 8,91,929. Closing rank in round 3, 6,14,780. No seat in straight round. MGM Medical College, Aurangabad, Maharashtra, 20 lakh fees per annum. Closing rank in round 1, 2,57,540. Closing rank in round 2, 2,43,493. Closing rank in round 3, 1,99,504. Closing rank in straight round, 91,313. MGM Medical College, Navi Mumbai, Maharashtra, 20 lakh fees per annum. Closing rank in round 1, 2,34,995. Closing rank in round 2, 2,01,655. Closing rank in round 3, 59,755. No seat in straight round. MM Institute of Medical Sciences and Research, Mulana, Haryana, 17 lakh fees per annum. Closing rank in round 1, 3,55,560. Closing rank in round 2, 2,71,228. Closing rank in round 3, 3,75,083. Closing rank in straight round, 2,40,303. Raja Rajeshwari Medical College, Bangalore, 23 lakh fees per annum. Closing rank in round 1, 3,57,236. Closing rank in round 2, 3,99,126. Closing rank in round 3, 4,12,709. Closing rank in straight round, 1,74,460. Rural Medical College and Pimloni, Maharashtra, 16,25,000 fees per annum. Closing rank in round 1, 1,53,745. Closing rank in round 2, 1,30,961. Closing rank in round 3, 88,860. No seat in straight round. Santosh Medical College and Hospital, Ghaziabad, Uttar Pradesh, 24 lakh fees per annum. Closing rank in round 1, 7,59,984. Closing rank in round 2, 6,26,872. Closing rank in round 3, 8,22,255. Closing rank in straight round, 5,96,017. Savita Medical College, Tamil Nadu, 24,75,000 fees per annum. Closing rank in round 1, 6,09,404. Closing rank in round 2, 5,63,890. Closing rank in round 3, 5,30,867. Closing rank in straight round, no seat. SBKS Medical College and Research Center, Baroda, Gujarat, 18,75,000 fees per annum. Closing rank in round 1, 2,49,744. Closing rank in round 2, 2,91,454. Closing rank in round 3, 3,12,029. No seat in straight round. SDU Medical College, Kolar, Karnataka, 17,60,000 fees per annum. Closing rank in round 1, 2,93,058. Closing rank in round 2, 1,73,242. Closing rank in round 3, 2,14,883. Closing rank in straight round, 1,25,670. Sri Satya Sai Medical College, Chennai, Tamil Nadu, 20 lakh fees per annum. Closing rank in round 1, 11,85,551. Closing rank in round 2, 8,25,401. Closing rank in round 3, 11,65,039. Closing rank in straight round, 9,71,632. Sri Balaji Medical College and Hospital, Chennai, Tamil Nadu, 25 lakh fees per annum. Closing rank in round 1, 12,18,682. Closing rank in round 2, 9,18,922. Closing rank in round 3, 12,08,728. Closing rank in straight round, 12,21,896. Sri Lakshmi Narayana Institute of Medical Sciences, Puducherry, 22 lakh fees per annum. Closing rank in round 1, 11,91,412. Closing rank in round 2, 9,11,786. Closing rank in round 3, 12,16,026. Closing rank in straight round, 8,20,964. Sri Lalitambigai Medical College and Hospital, Tamil Nadu, 19 lakh fee structure per annum. Closing rank in round 1, 8,73,049. Closing rank in round 2, 8,89,770. Closing rank in round 3, 11,11,832. Closing rank in straight round, 2,86,941. Sri Ramachandra Medical College, Chennai, Tamil Nadu, 25 lakh fees per annum. Closing rank in round 1, 2,70,532. Closing rank in round 2, 2,30,552. Closing rank in round 3, 2,73,789. Closing rank in straight round, 2,23,101. Sri Siddhartha Academy, T. Begur, Bengaluru, 17,75,000 fees per annum. Closing rank in round 1, 5,92,791. Closing rank in round 2, 3,20,986. Closing rank in round 3, 3,67,360. Closing rank in straight round, 2,44,952. Sri Siddhartha Medical College, Tumkuru, Karnataka, 17,75,000 fees per annum. Closing rank in round 1, 4,31,784. Closing rank in round 2, 2,45,742. Closing rank in round 3, 3,64,714. Closing rank in straight round, 1,93,103. SRM Medical College, Chennai, Tamil Nadu, 25 lakh fees per annum. Closing rank in round 1, 7,44,166. Closing rank in round 2, 9,18,463. Closing rank in round 3, 7,11,268. Closing rank in straight round, 5,01,412. Symbiosis Medical College for Women's, Pune, 10 lakh fees per annum. Closing rank in round 1, 64,564. Closing rank in round 2, 46,959. Closing rank in round 3, 24,965. No seat in straight round. Wells Medical College and Hospital, Tiruvallur, Tamil Nadu, 21 lakh fees per annum. Closing rank in round 1, 11,96,668. Closing rank in round 2, 7,44,393. Closing rank in round 3, 4,92,626. No seat in straight round. Vinayaka Mission Medical College, Karaikal, Puducherry, 18,50,000 fees per annum. Closing rank in round 1, 9,60,287. Closing rank in round 2, 9,19,971. Closing rank in round 3, 12,11,240. Closing rank in straight round, 5,31,885. VMKV Medical College and Hospital, Salem, Tamil Nadu, 20 lakh fees per annum. Closing rank in round 1, 12,13,823. Closing rank in round 2, 8,86,751. Closing rank in round 3, 11,96,425. Closing rank in stray round 7,22,918. Yenapoya Medical College, Mangaluru, Karnataka, 18,50,000 fees per annum. Closing rank in round 1 3,62,074. Closing rank in round 2 2,04,956. Closing rank in round 3 4,11,511. Closing rank in stray round 1,55,952. Thank you for being with us till the end. For more updates on latest video, subscribe our channel and stay tuned.